Alrighty, ladies and gents, greetings. I hope you had a wonderful time since we've last met. I do hope that this message does receive a wider audience, though. That's the main reason why I am recording this video. As you can tell by the title, I'm pretty much be going over what happened and why I decided to leave a Big Four company. And if you're interested on which company I work for or a little bit about me, I'll be posting this on numerous social media channels. So just do a little research on your own. You'll be able to find out which company I'm referring to. But I don't want to say their name on camera, right? I have a respect for everything they provided to me for the past 2+ years, right? I really do have respect for that job that I did, right? But I cannot sit in silence regarding what happened to me and to several others as well that I will not name as well, out of respect for them. But about 2.5, 3 years ago, I attained my associate's degree in political science. I know, political science, right? The only reason I went to get that degree, or only reason I got that degree in general, is because the Marine Corps was offering tuition assistance and partial GI Bill. I served in the United States Marine Corps reserves as soon as I graduated out of high school. I went to high school at the age of 19. I did fail a grade. But I went a month after I got out of high school, right? So that was a really crazy experience, right? I mean, I wasn't active duty, but I did train in the boot camp as an active duty component. I was active duty until the point of my trainings, right? So once I was qualified for my MOS, which is a military occupational specialty, I was sent back home, and then I was stationed in Austin, where my unit was. Or stationed as a reserve in Austin, where I would commute here from San Antonio. Right? So I had gone to, in the Marine Corps, I was able to get my degree because they were offering Reserve 1606. They gave me a partial payment. And I said, why not, right? Why not continue further education? Right? I was working these horrible jobs. I mean, these jobs that really no one wants to do. And I have appreciation for those who are doing them, right? For me, though, right, I have one thing about me is I'm constantly thinking, I'm constantly pondering. So simple jobs such as those, and I'm saying simple as like, maybe a warehouse worker, right? You really nothing really needed in terms of picking up things, picking them back. I was a forklift driver for a while for the TGX companies. But I was doing those kinds of jobs, right? I really wasn't getting fulfillment out of them. So when I attained my associate's degree from San Antonio College, I got an invite from Handshake. It's like I don't know exactly what it is, but basically San Antonio College works hand in hand with that application or company, and basically they're able to reach out to recent graduates to offer employment opportunities, right? So as I attained my degree, I was about 25 when I retained it. So I'm pretty sure I wasn't the age range they wanted to hire, but considering I just became a recent hire, I don't think they really cared about the age. So I sat down with the interviewers of this company, and I thank God that they gave me employment, because it really did change my life, right? I told you I was working these very simple jobs, wasn't really finding fulfillment in them. So when I decided to go back and seek higher education, this job really helped me get out of low income poverty. And I have appreciation for that, right? Something about me and my family is we are, say, lower middle class, but for a while as I was growing up, we were low class, right? I remember those times where my mother and father really tried to hide our poverty, and I really appreciate them for that, right? And I don't care, right? I think that has built me up as a stronger man because of I didn't really have resources for things, right? I still don't even have a medical diagnosis for what I have, right? Because I'm pretty sure I have ADHD, severe ADHD. But going back on that, right? So I got employed 2.5 years ago in the beginning of, I believe, June of 2022. I was working in a Big Four company in the auditing and finance field, more specifically independence, right? And I had appreciation. I honestly thought this job was a scam because of how good it sounded, right? I sat down with the hiring interviewers, and they liked my resume, right? As small as it was, because I was 25, right? I don't have that much experience. But there was one man that I did interview. It was the first interview and then the second interview. And I don't know his name. I've never seen him ever again in my life. But I want to give appreciation to you, because when we sat down, I gave my testimony basically on why I wanted to work here, right? And I told him that, I came from low income poverty. I decided to join the United States Marine Corps Reserves. The reason I did that is because I wanted to become an officer. I told him, like, I work with my hands a lot. I was a landscaper at the time I got employed. So I was working in a totally different field, right? I was outside cutting the 16, 24 yards, some days by myself. But I was working with a friend, a veteran of mine. And that was my life while I was going to school, right? Going out to Cibolo, Texas, cutting yards there, cutting yards across San Antonio, and the outer regions. And I remember every day I would be so depressed because I felt like that was the peak of my employment for me, right? That was the only job I would ever be able to attain. So when I got my degree and got this job, it was amazing. It changed my life, right? And I truly value the experiences I gained in the Marine Corps, because I wasn't a great Marine. I'd say I was an average Marine, right? But I think seeing how high the standards of the United States Marine Corps were, right, and seeing how much it took to become in the upper echelon of Marines, I think that really gave me a perspective on, like, oh crap, I gotta put full force into what I'm doing, whether any job I'm doing, right? We as human beings live on this planet. We are meant to go through stressful things. We are meant to accomplish things, right? If we're sitting down willy-nilly playing video games all day, it doesn't have the same effect as if you're out there working as a job, right? And a little bit about my family and I. My fathers are hard workers. My dad's an immigrant, served in the United States Marine Corps, gained his citizenship. And I really have an appreciation of that. That's partially why I went to the Marine Corps as well, to see what my dad went through, to have an appreciation for those who came before me. And yeah, so the hiring guy hired me. Worked there. I'm obviously was different than everybody else because of my past experiences, right? And I tried to. One thing about me is I tried to not keep my biases and judgments, right? I tried to learn from every single person. I tried to not hold judgments as much as possible, just because we are all complex creatures, right? If I come in with my kind of thinking and I don't open my ears to you, if I don't allow reproof, right, which is taking instruction or criticism in order to learn, if I'd never had that kind of mindset, I'd never be where I'm at in this position right now. Right? So I got hired, and this job, holy crap, this job gave me consistency, right? Because it was a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, 9 to 5:30, basically. So I had a something I've never had in my life, and that was a schedule of employment, right? I said, these prior jobs I was working sporadically based on when they needed me. So being able to work on a job that really gave me some stability and consistency with their scheduling, I think it really was one of the key pieces in who I am as today, right? Because I was able to put full force, all my energy into working Monday through Friday, and then on Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday, I'm a big proponent of delayed gratification. So those Friday nights, Saturday, Sunday, that's my time, right? I put in my dailies, my week's work, right? I plow, as you would say, the fields Monday through Friday, and then when the weekend comes, I'm able to enjoy myself. So I was working there for 2.5 years. I promoted fairly recently, right? And I was able to become a senior in the rank. That's a very common rank, I believe, in these auditing fields in these big old major corporations. And so I was able to become a senior, and within the course of a fiscal year, I'd say a year and a half or so, just because of how their promotion system works. And even working as a level 1 there, I was making more than I had ever had in my life. And it wasn't really that much in hindsight, right? It was to me. But being able to work with a job knowing that I'm getting paid every 2 weeks was really a blessing, because I had never received that. I was mostly working these jobs where you have to work 40. If you miss a day, you have a smaller paycheck. So I have an appreciation for that. And it allowed me to improve myself as a human being, right? And I had these characteristics of the Marine Corps and myself, such as going into this job. So I think I know that I was evolving as a human being, right? Because I had seen the blessings that this place was giving me. So I spent a lot of my time on my downtime reading books and really meditating and really learning more about the Word of God and just finding things to improve myself, right? I had no longer had to worry about my next meal because it was being provided, as long as I was financially responsible. And I still learned how to be financially responsible, right? But more so, I had more of a financial responsibility being at that job than I had ever been in any other job. And so the fact that this job would allow me to promote in such a short time to make a certain amount of money that I had never ever made in my life, I was truly blessed and appreciative of that, right? I remember the day I became a senior, I saw my compensation statement and how much I was making. I called my mom immediately, right? If you don't know my mom is one of my biggest role models, and I love her very much. Mom, if you're seeing this, I love you. And I remember I was on the phone telling her how much I was going to be making now that I had put in the work for a year and a year and a half and became a senior. And my mom said, this is really humbling, right? My mom had said, Matthew, you're making more than I have ever had in my entire life. And, it had seen waves and shatters through my whole body, right? Because my mom is an amazing woman and she's had a lot of accomplishments in her life. To hear that, right? It was just a blessing to have appreciation that I had a mother and a father in my life, right? That I had such a great support system, that I was able to become a young professional Latino, that I was moving from where I should have been, right? I come from the south side of San Antonio. If you're from there, we're we're our own people, right? Whether you like it or not, we're our own people. We have a certain distinction, and no one around me had ever worked in this kind of job before. And I remember the first time I had been recruited into a gang when I was in middle school. And I had always remembered that experience because, I could have chosen to go that route, right? Especially with the environment I was in and the kind of culture that I was living around, right? That I could have easily had gone a different path in my life, right? Paths that maybe some of my family members had taken before me, that some of my friends might have taken before me, that people that I had gone to school with had gone before me, right? That was definitely a possibility, and I really commend my father for instilling instruction in me. I hated my father as a young adult, or as a young man, or even as a teenager because of how restrictive he was, right? And I appreciate it nowadays because my father really helped me keep my nose clean, right? By not doing, even if it was to not go out and stay out with friends for long, right? I really was angry at my dad because, my dad's like, you got to be here at 9 o'clock on the dot, if not, you're going to be grounded. So those kind of things he instilled in me, and I really do nowadays as a 27-year-old really appreciate those lessons because he taught me discipline, right? Discipline. He was my master. He was my sensei, and I was a student, and I didn't know it at the time. And I really appreciate my dad and commend him for his patience and his ability to continue to work on me through the years, right? And I have appreciation for him. And so I believe I became a senior around a year and a half ago, to this day now on this video, right? And it had truly changed my life with the salary I was making, right? Because I'm a big proponent on being a hard worker. I love working, right? And people might say this, oh, you're crazy, right? Oh, this guy is a loser because that's all he does is invest his time. No, I invest my time in work because I like to put it back to the people around me, and I can't live without working, right? Whether it be at a job or whatever I'm doing, right? Now that I'm leaving. I have been outside of that company for a month. I'm still working, right? Doing these kind of videos, making some art. I've been on TikTok as well. I know it sounds crazy to think, but I've been doing TikTok as well, making some videos, right? I'm making art more so now than I have ever done, right? Because I have the time and really the maturity to really kind of figure out what I want to do in my life nowadays. And so, let's go back to basically why this video was made is because if you're unfamiliar, when you come to these big companies, everyone receives their compensation statements at the same day, typically. And you typically, for at least for the company I was working for, you every year, every fiscal year, once their fiscal year ends, you receive a compensation statement, which should have an increase in your salary, right? You're working there for a year, you get a certain percentage. Like I said, I had never experienced that in my life, so the fact that I was getting more money for working, even for doing the same job, I had appreciation for that, right? Like I said, I was working these crazy jobs. I didn't have anything like that. And so, I was really satisfied with the salary I was already making, right? I was like, geez, that salary that was provided to me really made me want to work for this company for the rest of my life, right? And that's a crazy thing to think of, right? That I'm 27 and I still got about 40, 50 plus years of working if I had worked at this job, continued to work at this job, right? And I was fine with that. I was like, and I told myself, even if I don't even get a salary increase this year, I'm still chilling with the money I made, right? So the week of our compensation statements, the Thursday prior, because we all receive them the Friday morning. So Thursday night I had received a Teams meeting from the head of our department, and I won't say his or her names just out of respect for them. And that was a red flag for me because I had never talked to this person one-on-one ever in my life, right? I'm like, okay, well, it's the day before we receive our compensation statements. I'm getting a meeting scheduled with the head of my department, seemingly out of nowhere. So I knew something was up, right? I had discernment in my ear for it, right? So during that time, and I really believe it was God telling me to prepare for what the news that was coming. So during that time, I told my girlfriend that, hey, I have to meditate. I have to pray to God. I have to figure out what's going on because there was something in my heart that made me feel uneasy. A big change was coming, right? And so I'm a big proponent of working out. I'm currently not working out right now because I injured my arm, but I will be back in the gym soon. Hey, Eduardo, if you're seeing this, I can't wait to do some chest workouts with you. So one biggest thing about going to the gym was meditating in the sauna, right? I like to spend at least 30 minutes in a crisscross pose position and really just not do anything but think and just close my mind or close my mouth, let my ears listen to what the universe is saying. And I know it sounds crazy, but that really does help me out with like my day-to-day life because it allows me to reset every single day and really see what I'm doing wrong and what I can improve on and reproof. And so I had done that heavily during that week because I knew something big was coming. And I was very, like, I felt like I already knew what was going to go on, but I knew that I had to be patient in order to hear what was gonna come. And so, I was meditating and, I was very, 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 like, I knew a big change was coming. And I did my best to meditate and stuff, but as a human being, I'm still scared, right? I'm still scared of uncertainty. And so when that Thursday came, that meeting happened. It was only a 30-minute meeting. I was with the head of the department, sat down with him or her, and the first thing he or she told me was, I'm probably going to ruin your day, right? And I don't know about you, but if the head of your department tells you, I'm probably going to ruin your day, that's the first thing they say. Well, they probably not the best things kind of come out of their mouth, right? And so that was the first thing I heard, right? And he or she told me that, okay, well, hey, thank you for joining the call. As you know, we're receiving our compensation statements on Friday. Everyone's going to be getting their annual increases. It looks like there was a glitch in the system. This is literally what they told me. There was a glitch in the system. You're getting paid too much. And I had gotten promoted 6 months prior to this meeting, right? So for me, it was like, okay, we work in an auditing finance field. We as the workers, the people in my department, are one of our biggest factors is making sure everything is correct, right? Quality assurance. And so the fact that this incident had gone on for 6 months and they had barely found out about it due to a certain glitch, just really baffled me, where I was like, okay, well, I spend every single waking day in a constant anxiety, trying to make sure that everything is put in the right place, right? Making sure we're delivering the best product to the client and making sure everything's good, right? Attention to detail, right? That's a big thing, right? And the fact that there was a glitch in the system for 6 months and this company had not, or these people had not figured that out 6 months later, was just blew my mind. It was like, okay, you tell us to make sure our P's, dot our I's and cross our T's, right? But when it came to our own well-being, that's just so easily to forget, right? And so I was very upset about that. But I didn't show that in the meeting. But that was, they told me, so it was a glitch in the system. Apparently we've been paying you for too much, for too long, and we're going to reduce your salary by $10,000, right? And I don't know about you, but $10,000 isn't a small amount of money. At least I don't think so, right? And to reduce that, and regardless of what any amount of money you make, $10,000 taken off of your salary is a lot, right? That's a lot. And I calculated how much it would be with the current salary that I had, and that is a big thing, man. The fact that you would just tell someone in front of you, yeah, hey, there's a glitch in the system, we're paying you too much, we're going to reduce your salary by $10,000. And the funniest thing was, and I laughed in my head because of it, was like, oh, but you don't have to pay any of that back, though. And I was like, is that supposed to reassure me? Is that supposed to make me feel better? Right, like, y'all had messed up on your end, but you're telling me, oh, you don't have to pay it back? I'm like, what kind of reassurance was that? You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I'm definitely not gonna pay it back because I wasn't the one that messed it up, right? If I was in the United States Marine Corps and that had happened, obviously I would have to, because they have their uniform code of military justice, they have their code of ethics, and they have, the military works in a certain way with accordance to the government. For this job, I was like, okay, well, I'm not gonna pay that money back. What you messed up and you expect me to fix that? Like, no. Anyways, before I get off track, yeah, and that was what they told me. They told me, but they also told me, you're doing a great job. And I go by Domingo as well. I'm doing a great job, Domingo. Everybody loves you around you. You're a leader in your department. We love everything you're doing. This isn't performance-based. The reason we're not doing this is not because of performance-based, right? It's simply because they glitch in the system. And that was the only reasoning that he had given me, was that there was a glitch in the system. I don't think there was a glitch in the system, right? And I'm not the smartest man, and not the most intellectual man, but I don't think that was right? And so, the initial feeling I felt was anger and wrath, right? And I had commended myself and thanking God for allowing me to spend time meditating and really reading the Word of God and reading some books that I read. Because during that time I knew I had to be stoic, right? I had to. One thing that I like to reading about is the history of the samurai. And one thing about the samurai don't like to fight. Right? They don't like to engage in combat unless absolutely need to. One thing about a samurai is to become, through their honor and through their labor of work, becoming a samurai, they hope to attain a level of intimidation to where their enemy would never even consider striking them. Right? The fact that a samurai would never have to pull out his sword to instill peace was a beautiful thing that I had loved to adapt in my own life, right? And so during that, when I was receiving this news, I was just like, man, well, this sucks, right? I just felt like felt like I was with, this is an analogy, but I felt like I was dating a very, 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 very super like attractive woman, and then she told me she cheated on me, and but she wanted to stay with me, right? That's the analogy I put in my head, and I felt my world just come down because of that, right? Because $10,000 is not a small amount of money, right? Especially for us, 9-to-5 workers. $10,000 in your salary reduced with no performance issues. It's not something you can just really take on the chin and go for it, right? But I tried to do the best I can. Obviously, I was a professional during that meeting, and I said, the first thing I said was, I thank you for your time. And I felt like when I was saying this, I didn't even feel like I was saying it. I was like, thank you for your time. Thank you for all the experiences I learned here at this company. I told him or her that I will be fighting this as much as possible, right? Because at the moment, that's what I wanted to do. I was like, man, I don't think this was right? I haven't pursued anything just because, this company is ginormous, right? Like I said, I'm from a low income, hopefully still in a little middle class society, but I have no chance against this big company, right? At least that's what I think right now, right? I don't know if there's someone else that is able to help me with my situation. Definitely would love you to reach out to me, right? But I decided not to take further action, and everything. That whole conversation was in a matter of 5 minutes, and it was a 30-minute meeting. And that's the only thing I said is I thank you for the time. I thank you for the experiences. I thank you for just the opportunity that for me being allowed to work here, right? Because I really felt like this was a chance of luck that I was even working at this company, right? Because of given my experiences, I had no, my degree was even finance focused or business focused, right? It was political science, right? So the fact that this company had given me the opportunity, and I had showed them the fruits of my labor on what I could do, right? I was appreciative of that. And so he or she said, oh, well, we have 25 minutes on the call. Did you want to talk about anything else? And in my mind, I was like, what else would I want to talk about, right? So I told him or her, no, thank you. I thank you for your time. And that was it, right? And I remember I had come back to my cubicle, and I had told, I obviously called my mom because of it, right? But, I remember that feeling of not wanting to work there ever again, right? Like I just felt all motivation, everything that I had worked for in 2.5 years, it's simply been wiped away. All my motivation was gone, right? Like, I don't know if you could do that, but I felt like this was a chapter closed in my life, right? And it was a bittersweet feeling because like I said, I wanted to work here for the rest of my life. And but like I said, I trust in God. I have faith in God. Maybe this isn't where I was supposed to be, or maybe that wasn't where I was supposed to be. And so I had already had a public speech. It was like a public speech. They offered public speaking every quarter. So I had signed up for the public speaking event where I could just practice on my public speaking skills, right? As I am in front of you, camera, I'm obviously practicing again. And I had heard the news the Friday prior. So that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, like I said, I had gone into deep meditation and prayer and really just trying to figure out how I was gonna deal with it, right? Should I stay at this company? Should I just take it on the cheek? Should I just continue to work and just be okay that this had happened, right? And one thing about me is I am a vocal communicator, more so now in my life than I have ever been, right? I speak for those around me that do not have a voice, right? Are scared to speak up, right? And there's a certain, like, that's a respectful thing that people see in you, right? That you speak for them. You know, you speak for the weak, and I don't say weak as in, you know, physically, but public speaking and conflict is not an easy thing to do, especially when your salary and your livelihood is on the line, right? And so for me, it was like, well, if I stay here, what am I telling the people around me that this big corporation can just take money as they please? Like, if $10,000 isn't life-changing money, and we'll just stay here and do the job because we need to do the job because it provides us, you know, stability. And yeah, I had to finally decided, no, I can't stay here, right? I wanted to be a lesson. I wanted my absence to be a lesson to what had happened, right? That we're not union based. We don't have any, like, you know, it's a corporate world, right? Obviously, like, HR is not going to be on my side. No one's going to be on my side, right? So I had decided to make the biggest impact by leaving, right? Showing them my absence, right? And I'm sure they're fine now. I'm sure I was a drop in the bucket compared to what happened. But I personally couldn't stay there because of what happened, right? I'm starting to become older and more mature, right? And you know, I have experienced several injustices in my life that I had turned the cheek on, right? And this is just one I couldn't do, right? Especially because, you know, the whole reason I left is because I'm banking on myself as a human being to know that whichever other company wants to hire me, or whichever other place that I want to seek employment from, will get a good worker from it, right? So obviously I have confidence in myself to know that everything I'm doing is okay, right? But what about the person? What if this happened to a person that didn't have that kind of mindset and didn't have that kind of confidence, right? This is really why I'm making the video, because, you know, what if it wasn't me? What if it was someone around me that, like I said, didn't want to raise their voice and speak up and didn't want conflict, right? If I had stayed, I was showing them that regardless of what happens, we just have to take it on the chin and continue to go. And so that's why I'm mostly making this video, is because there are going to be people that are working in this kind of field, and they may not stand up to what happened, right? They may go through the same thing and they may not feel like they have any impact. And I want to let you know that you do, right? There was a recent, I won't go into that actually, I'll go into another video, just because it kind of reveals what company I'm talking about. But I had a Tuesday public speaking event planned already. So the weekend I decided, okay, well, I'm gonna leave this company, right? I'm gonna leave, and I remember the feeling of euphoria, knowing that I was making a decision that scared me so much, man. And I was crying too. I was crying because, yeah, I mean, $10,000 is a lot of money, right? And I had cried, but I more so had cried tears of joy, knowing that my faith in God was truly testing my faith, right? And I had loved that because I no longer knew, or I knew that I was no longer walking with myself. I was walking with God, and God was guiding me. And so that's why I left, right? But I had, like I said, I had a Tuesday speech plan. I remember the Tuesday morning I had started shaking people's hand, letting them know that I won't no longer be working for this company. I said, I'll put my 2 weeks in, and hope you'll have a great time, right? And it was a very humbling thing to know that there's a lot of people around me that really did care about me, right? people listening or finding out that I was leaving, coming up to me and having tears in their eyes. That was a really blessing. It's a real blessing to know, because people genuinely cared about me. And people were like, "Oh, do you have something lined up? Do you have another job lined up? Are you gonna work?" I don't have anything lined up, right? And I still don't have anything lined up. I'm still looking for jobs. I'm still looking for stuff. I'm trying to take it as best as I can. But I'm glad I left, right? Like I said, I'm making this video because of that. So the speech topic on that Tuesday was about overcoming adversity, right? And I'm a big fan of Marcus Aurelius's Meditations and all the lessons we can learn from that book, right? And so I was going to do that regardless, but overcoming adversity, right? And this was the adversity that had come in my life. And it was crazy how both of them came at the same time. And I truly think it was an alignment of the universe and what I was trying to do. But I had decided to leave to overcome that adversity, right? Knowing that I had gained a lot of experience working here and gained a lot of knowledge and gained a lot of confidence in myself, knowing that I can achieve whatever I want to. I truly mean that, right? And you got to be some level of sane to believe that, and that's okay. I definitely don't mind coming off as insane, right? Like successful people. I mean, some of them are insane, right? But yeah, towards the end of the speech, and if you want to watch that speech, it's in this. It will be probably around my channels, right? If you're not already subscribed, go follow my YouTube channel on YouTube. Obviously, it's called the Shiaijo, and I'll have it plugged here as well. But like I was saying, towards the end of that speech, I had told everyone that was in attendance for that meeting, it's time to close this chapter. It's time to move on and look for new horizons, right? That's what I had said. And I remember seeing my departments, the co-workers in my departments in the back wall, seeing me say this. And it was a bittersweet feeling, because I know the biggest thing about that company was the people, right? I didn't care really much about the job. I cared more about the people, because I was working with good people. And that's why I loved, as I said, that's why I wanted to work there for so long, because regardless of what amount of money you make, it's genuinely the people that make up the job, right? You can get paid a lot of money to do something, but work with horrible people, right? This is definitely one of those jobs. It was the best of both worlds, right? And so I had left, or I put my 2 weeks in, and then, and yeah, that was it. I submitted all my items back, and did all the offboarding process, and now I'm here in front of you in this camera, right? And the reason I'm doing this video is because I think a great injustice has happened, and if I don't say it and if I don't speak out and let people know about it, well, then I'm not doing what I know I should be doing, right? What's it called? Intuition, knowing something not based off of something written. I don't know. So I'm sorry for that, but I followed my intuition, and so yeah, it's definitely been hard since I've left, for sure, because I'm not employed right now at the moment, right? And that's fine. Like I said, I have a deep trust in God. Like I told you, I have a deep trust in God. I know that everything's gonna be okay, even if it isn't right now. I know everything will, right? And I think that's a testament to my positive mental attitude and my confidence in God and my confidence in my relationship with Him, right? But I want to just give this last portion to really speak out to that company, right? I want to give you appreciation for allowing a young professional Latino that wasn't a young professional Latino before I even started working there. I didn't even consider myself a professional Latino. So I want to give appreciation for helping me get out of poverty, right? Knowing that I probably should have gone a route that I had never gone. So thank you so much for steering me in this direction, right? I hope to continue it, whether it be at another company or maybe on my own endeavors. But I appreciate everything that you have done, right? But that being said, right? You need to truly value the people that work under you, right? There's a big, when you get to companies that big, there's a big divide between those that are in power and those that support the power, right? And if you don't value the workers that are under you, how do you expect longevity that, how do you expect to be successful for a long period of time, right? And I think the biggest thing is just fear. People are so scared to lose their stability and their income that they'll do what they're as told, right? And so I hope to be an outlier of that, right? Knowing that everything's going to be okay, right? If you're working at those jobs, hey, continue to work those jobs. If you love the job, hey, work the job. But unfortunately, what happened was that situation happened to me, right? So value your workers. One of the biggest things about going into office, because I didn't have to go into office every single day. I decided to go into office every single day. we were doing the remote where you could go three days in, 2 days a week. But I loved going in because I loved learning about people and the people around me, right? And there's a lot of people that work on you that will never be truly appreciated for who they are, but I will. And if you're seeing this, I appreciate it. I know everything you've done. I know who you are, right? I know the things you go through, and I know, it's a really humbling thing, and I love it so much that when people would come to my cubicle and really just open up to me, they don't even know me. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't even know me. They don't even know who I am. But the fact that they would feel so comfortable to reveal certain things to me in confidence is truly a blessing, right? Because, we can talk about ourselves for so much. We can talk about our own accomplishments, but really hearing about other people's accomplishments, I think that's something I've been doing lately. It's really just loving how people are becoming successful in their own lives, right? And there's no room for resentment or envy or jealousy, right? At least in my eyes, because there's enough success around the world for everyone to go by, right? So yeah, like I said, truly value your workers, right? Because they're the ones that support all the money you're trying to do, right? When you have us go to mandatory meetings and you put on the presentations, we're hitting record profits, and we're booming in business, yet you would take one of your hardest workers' salaries so easily. I don't know, I just couldn't, it didn't sit well for me, So value your workers and value those who are under you, right? Because you never know where they're going to be at in their life, right? You never know what they're going through, right? I saw the day-to-day everyone around me. But that being said, let me finish this on that. Ever since I left, I made a channel, like I said, I had made this word called the Shiaijo, right? And I can go further into it in another video. But this is where I'll be doing stuff for the rest of my life, right? Whether I'm still working on another job, I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life, right? I consider myself a content creator now, as cringy as that sounds. But there's a lot of lessons that I'm trying to teach through the videos I'm making, right? A video that I'm going to be making very soon is about Garu Hanayama. And if you're unfamiliar who Garu Hanayama is, he's a character for the Baki anime and manga. And if you're unfamiliar with Baki is a fighting anime. I'm probably butchering what exactly it is, but Kaoru Hanayama had given me strength, and I had really learned a lot about him during that time of everything that was happening. And shout out to you, Kaoru. I know you're not a real character, but I'm going to go into how he gave me strength and how he can give you strength in your life, right? So look out for that. But that being said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and your life. I hope nothing but blessings come to you, and I hope that you find God, whether you already have or not, right? And I don't say that to be disrespectful of your religion, just I feel like we're in a godless society nowadays, and if I have to be one of those people that exalts his name and people don't like it, hey, so be it, right? He has changed my life. He's changing my life every day. I'm learning every day from him, whether it be small lessons or big, right? And so, yeah, like I said, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your time. If you do want to be a supporter with me, I do have my YouTube channel, a couple of social medias. I have Instagram, TikTok, all these other facets of channels that you can support me with. It doesn't have to be monetary. It can literally just be a follow, a like, a share, right? Posting on Indeed as well, right? And that's kind of scary because this is more so for professionals rather than content. But hey, I do everything in confidence because I know everything I'm doing is in alignment with God. So that being said, let me finish talking. I got to get some other stuff done. But thank you for tuning into this video and staying for this long if you have. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Like I said, bye.